Jam it out.
All right, welcome everybody to our special Monday night just chatting in honor of Independence Day and the fact that we were busy all weekend. Dave, Doug, always a pleasure to see you.
All
Good to
mine.
be seen
Pleasure
by
is all
you.
mine.
Pleasure's all Doug's.
It is. I'm very pleased. Well, I'm pleased as a Georgia peach.
I do declare.
So, did you gentlemen have a wonderful, fantastic, marvelous weekend?
Absolutely. You?
I did. I had a pretty good weekend. Kept busy.
Keith, were you at the same lodge I was at?
No, we were at Splash Village. You were at the Bavarian Inn.
I was at the Bavarian. They have a nice little wave pool type thing in there too. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah,
you've been
yeah.
there.
We have. It's not as good as Splash Village. There's a lot more there. But we did go by the Bavarian Inn. My daughter, who turned 14, wanted a horse-drawn carriage ride.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes, she's got all the
Not to
attitude
you,
of a 14.
your daughter. God,
Yes.
it's not all about you.
Since when? What is going on here? But yes, we had a good time. I was actually looking at the Bavarian Inn to see if we could see you. I saw no old bald guys, so I was like, oh, I don't see Dave.
You were blinded when you looked that direction. Like, oh! Yeah, there's Dave, all right.
So you two didn't run into each other this weekend?
We did not.
No,
I would have texted him to hang out like Friday nights, and Saturday was a wedding. Probably wouldn't have time, but by the time the kids were done in the pool, I was exhausted, and I'm like, I'm going to bed because I'm old and tired and lazy.
Well, when we were there, my daughter stayed in room with me. She watched Stranger Things, and she was on. I don't know what episode she was on, but I started watching. I'm like, this is getting interesting. So I'm actually back on it. I just watched. I think I've watched 4 episodes now, and it's getting better as it goes.
It's a pretty decent show.
I still have not seen the 4th season yet.
Oh, I haven't finished the 4th season.
To me, it starts slow. In my opinion, it starts slow, but it picks up, and it's going pretty good.
Yeah, they're kind of setting up the mystery and everything at first, I think. I almost wonder, when I first started watching that, I think they were really trying to find their footing, and they wanted to live within the realm of like an old school Stephen King novel, you know, and then hence why they call each episode a chapter. You know, they have that pretty iconic font that they're using for the opening title and everything. So I think that's why they were trying to like open it up like you would almost see the opening of the book, set up the whole mystery and all that, and kind of let it play out. So yeah, I do agree. It did have a bit of a slow start, but the way the Netflix shows work, I think they were okay with that, assuming people are going to binge this. It's like you ask somebody, hey, do you want to watch a 6-hour movie? God, no. All right, well, do you want to watch a Netflix show? Oh, yeah. How many episodes is it? 7 episodes. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's watch it all day.
Yeah. Well, it's harder to put it together in a movie, though, I think. If you have 6 separate episodes, when one ends, you can start up at a different spot on the next episode, you know. But if you do that in a movie, people will be like, wait, what happened?
Well, and one of the things too, I think why I haven't started season 4 yet is because how long each episode is. It's enormous.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to get started. Oh, what's up, Tessalita? Oh, go ahead. The birthday girl, everybody.
Yeah, happy birthday. Even
I
if
said
she can't
happy
hear us.
birthday. She said thanks.
She said, get out of my face. I'm just here for a second. That's what she said.
She's like, I just want the mints. Just stop.
Just do the mints and feel.
God, you're such a nerd, Dad. I know, and I'm very proud of it.
And just want to welcome the Terrible Gamer, TG. Thanks for joining the stream tonight. Always happy to have you on. Fortunately, we can't raid you for my favorite time ever when you sing, It's a Raid! It really is the best.
I love his prayer breaks, though. Those are hilarious.
Yes.
So, Terrible Gamer, you looking forward to the Thor movie?
I'm sure he is. But the 14-year-old that was just behind me getting my mints has finished season 4.
Oh,
And he is excited
wow.
for Thor Love and Thunder, as I think we all are.
Well, you guys have. What do you want to start off with? Do you want to start off with our theories for Thor, or you want to go with Miss Marvel or something?
I'm good with anything. You want to start off with Thor Love and Thunder?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we're already there.
Boom. Let me transition to the Thor Love and Thunder. Little lower right, lower left. I don't know my directions. Let me pretend like I'm eating. Okay, it's the lower left of the screen. It's the one with Batman in it. Yes. Yes. Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher is definitely in it.
So my theory on this are things that I don't like, but I'm just from watching the trailer again, just getting little clues. Obviously, Gore is going to kill a bunch of gods. We know this,
Okay.
and I think one of those gods is going to be Jane. And
You think so?
yeah, and I think unfortunately, I think that they're not gonna have much time to give her a backstory because she's not gonna make it through the movie. So they're not gonna explain this big long story. So I think she's coming from one of those other universes, and I'm not really happy about that. But she's gonna get killed, and that's what's gonna make Thor have the final battle with Gore. Gore versus Thor.
See, I think Jane. I do believe that Jane will die in this movie, and I have a different theory on why I think she's going to die. But I think she's going to die. But I think it's going to be closer to the end. I don't think she's going to die early, because I think they're going to focus on her and get audiences familiar with her. Because this is my big theory that I had in the comics. She becomes a Valkyrie,
Yeah.
and I think she is going to die defending Thor or anyone, whoever it may be, from Gore, and then they're going to be able to defeat Gore after her sacrifice. And I think we're going to see her in Valhalla, like being knighted or becoming a Valkyrie. And then I do think she will come back in future movies as a Valkyrie along with Tessa Thompson. And I don't know, Secret Wars, I don't know, maybe an Avengers movie, but I do think
I was
she's
wondering where you were going with that. All
I was
right.
trying to figure out. I was like, I should have something where she should show up next, but I have no clue. So I'm just going to take a weird long pause right here and make everyone uncomfortable. But I do think
Well, okay.
mission accomplished. Thank you very much. But I think she's going to come back in future, maybe Thor 5, maybe the Secret Wars or something like that. I do think she's going to die, but I think it's going to be later in the movies, and I think maybe even a post-credit scene of her showing up in Valhalla, as a warrior, dying a warrior's death, and then she's going to become a Valkyrie of some type.
I have two competing theories, and I say that because I think it'll be either or. My initial theory, when we were watching, there have been multiple trailers that have come out so far. Something new that Disney has been doing that, Terrible Gamer says, I stopped watching trailers. Disney's showing too much. Yeah, no doubt. And, they've been dropping teaser after teaser after teaser, and a lot of them do contain a lot of the same stuff, but it's almost overload. It's getting to the point where it's I wanted to see the movie. Chill.
Yeah, you've already seen the movie in the trailers.
Right?
But how many
Together.
trailer tricks do you think they're throwing at us?
See, I don't know. I'm not sure.
At least two.
I don't know if they're doing that with this one or not.
Christian Bale is
say.
actually not in the movie.
Christian Bale. It's actually, oh God, who?
Pauly Shore is Gore the God Butcher.
And he gained 200 pounds for the role.
Zack Snyder's Batman. Who is he?
Oh, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. There we go. That's Gore.
Oh yeah, they're just getting a separate Batman.
Right. They're just
Michael
gonna do
Keaton
that.
says he's doing that all the time now. He's doing every Batman movie now.
No. Gore will just be Taika Waititi. Oh, hi. How's it going? Yo, I'm Gore. Just, killing gods. It's no big
I'm
deal.
Gore.
Whatever.
No, Cog. I'm Gore.
Wow, you have an amazing sounding voice, sir. Oh, I know.
We should. I can't do the accent, but we should team up.
Right. But anyway, so my initial theory was that they were going to find a way to gracefully have Thor exit out of the Thor movies, because my thought process going into this is it seems like with a lot of these Disney Plus movies, they're trying to make way for other heroes to kind of take center stage. It's like they had the original Avengers have their big, spotlight moment. We had Endgame. We said goodbye to the original Captain America, said goodbye to Iron Man. We're now getting some of these. Oh, we said goodbye to Black Widow. So now we're starting to put a little more focus on some of the other heroes. We finally got another Doctor Strange movie. We got a new Captain America. We're getting, all of these other characters coming in sort of to take the place of the former heroes and everything. And my thought process initially going in was that they were going to make Jane the more central protagonist of this, and they were going to have her maybe be the new Thor, have her take the place of Chris Hemsworth Thor, maybe find a way to, he's going to retire, he's going to go off on a planet, he'll maybe go and be the god or whatever of the planet that Gore came from, or maybe he'll take more of his place, being the leader of New Asgard, like, all right, I'm going to chill out, I'm going to be on Earth, I'm not going to travel around space anymore. Jane, you get to be the traveling, wandering space Thor, and I'll be leader of New Asgard Thor. So that was my initial theory going in. But one of you had mentioned during our last live stream that you had proposed that perhaps Jane will die, and I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that, because I remember Keith saying a while back that originally in the comics, Jane gets her powers after she's got cancer or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So she gets Mjolnir, and it basically heals her cancer while she's Thor.
Well,
and
it doesn't heal her cancer.
Oh.
Cancer. What happens when she becomes the mighty Thor?
Okay.
Any of the chemotherapy and any of the drugs keeping her cancer at bay, it's gone, but the cancer stays. And the theory that that was talked about in the comics through Doctor Strange, like Doctor Strange is examining her, and he says, for whatever reason, Mjolnir thinks the cancer is part of you. It knows the medicine is not, so it basically gets rid of all the medicine, but the cancer stays. So every time she becomes Thor and then becomes Jane again, she's worse off than she was before. And it gets to the point where they say, listen, it's during the War of the Realms where Malekith is basically attacking all the realms with his huge army, taking over things. And he basically says, if you become Thor one more time, Jane Foster will die. And she does it anyway because she has to, protect Asgardia and everything from Malekith's army. So they make... Well, yeah, in the comics, they move away from Asgard because Asgard is destroyed during Ragnarok, and Asgardia is what they call their new place.
Oh, it's not like Canada.
No.
Yeah, but, so the more I was thinking about that, I'm like, oh, there's a very good chance that they could. I never know with these MCU movies. They like to stray from the comic book origins pretty often. So I never know. It's hard for me to say, well, they did this in the comics, so this is what they'll do in the movies. But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm looking at, those trailers, and I'm thinking, okay, well, they do have some certain scenes that are like literal one-to-one to the actual image from the comic. So I don't know what they're doing this time around. Normally with MCU, they'll take bits and pieces that they like about the character, and they'll be like, okay, this is what we're pulling from the comic. The rest is going to be totally different because this is the world of the MCU.
Yeah, they do that a lot, and you're right. They have some of the scenes we've seen in the trailer is right out of Jason Aaron's run. Yep.
So I don't know. It's like what you guys. I'm not really sure what direction they're going to take this. I think it'll be one or the other. Either Jane will live or Jane will die. And I know that's kind of cheap, but
well, that's a good call, Doug. One or the other is going to happen. You're right.
I keep going back to that one scene where Thor was planting Stormbreaker, and I'm like, is it possible that that's a gravesite?
It very well could be. And
is he going to reclaim Mjolnir because Jane is dead and she can no longer hold it, and he's planting Stormbreaker there as like a gravestone or something?
I was thinking about that because you said that the last time, and it got me thinking about that because a lot of we've talked about this before in some of the trailers. You see Korg and Thor standing there, and it looks like someone is missing. It's like the room on the screen is too big for two people, just about perfect for three.
So trailer
missing. And I kept thinking, for the life of me, it was going to be Beta Ray Bill. For those of you that don't know Beta Ray Bill, he's a Corbinite, looks like a horse. And he carries Stormbringer in the comics. I think Jane dies at the end, goes to Valhalla. Thor reclaims Mjolnir, and whatever he does with Stormbreaker, it is going to choose Beta Ray Bill. So I think it may be a post-credit scene, or they may save it for Thor 5, that we're going to see Beta Ray Bill basically wielding Stormbreaker. I don't think he's going to be in the movie now. I've been leaning a lot more towards that third sort of person that we don't see. Maybe it's Hercules, because we know he's going to Olympus, or Mount Olympus, and we know he has Zeus, and Hercules is Zeus's son, and he's a major factor in the comics. You know, he's been an Avenger, he's had a solo comic, he's done a lot. So, you know, we haven't heard who's been cast as him or anything, but I do think there's a very good chance that Hercules may join Team Thor, because someone's out there. Someone has been CGI'd out or special effects out, one of their trailer tricks. Because
That's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
And I'll tell you why. Because Stormbreaker, if you bury it sideways, it forms an X, just like in the end of Logan.
X-Men confirmed.
X-Men confirmed. And as everybody knows,
no bumping the brakes, no reeling it in.
Every time. We're never wrong.
One day we might be, but with that, we have not had that happen yet.
Never. Not once. Every theory that we've ever come up with, even theories that don't make sense, even theories that completely contradict the actual, not completely true, all the time. Every time.
Now, of course, the other thing I was thinking of, that person that's been
60%.
CGI'd out, Mephisto. Huh?
Mephisto, of course. You know what? I am going to reel that one in, Keith. I'm reeling it in. No way. No way that's Mephisto.
Yes,
you know what? Nah. I not only am I not pumping the brakes, I'm putting my cinder block foot down on the gas. We are revving it up. We're going to 88. Let's go.
That's Keith's job to hit the gas.
We're flying
That's all he
right.
does.
Come on.
He hits the gas.
Keith, get in the passenger seat. We're taking this.
I'm on board. It's going to be Korg,
right.
Thor, and Mephisto versus Gore the God Butcher. Because Mephisto's kind of a god. Gore would want to kill him too, because that's his vow.
Sure.
All gods must die. See, Dave, you can reel it in all you want. Confirmed. Mephisto.
Confirmed.
Finally
Wait,
making his
If
entry.
you throw in, who's that James Woods character from the Hercules movie? It's not Poseidon, is it?
Hades.
Hades. If you throw in Hades, I'll believe you.
God, he did such a good job voicing that.
Hades.
Hey, what's going on?
You know, I've never seen the Disney Hercules animated movie.
Really?
What? Really?
Yeah.
You're a weirdo, man.
I know.
Oh, yeah, that was before you had kids, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it has been very well documented that I'm a weirdo.
yeah.
Well, I watched Lion King when I didn't have any kids, so. And it came out when I was like 20, so.
I watched Lion King because I was a kid. Because it came out when I was one.
I was on some bender at a college dorm room, and somebody turned it on. I was like, "That's a cool movie, man."
Whoa!
Whoa, Lion King? That's
Man,
awesome.
this Disney company, they're going places.
Looks like they're a little startup from the 30s.
A little startup from the third. And now they own Star Wars and Marvel, and man, crazy.
They're definitely printing money in their basement. But I think the good news. Well, I think the good news about Thor: Love and Thunder, it's coming out in like 3 days now. We are seeing it in 3 days, so
Yes.
you know, I know I'm pretty fired up for it. I know. I think the one thing that Doug has brought up that I don't want to say is a major concern, but is concerning is the tone, the difference in tone between what we're getting, sort of the goofiness with Thor and the Guardians and stuff, and just how serious gore, scenes. I do. It can be pulled off. You can have those two tones in a movie and have it work, but it's not as easy as just having one theme throughout the movie. So I'm looking to see how this is all intertwined, and hopefully, it's pulled off well.
I also, we were talking earlier, I trust Taika
Waititi.
Waititi. I wanted to say Waikiki. That was.
Were you watching the Brady Bunch go to Hawaii again?
Yeah, the Waikiki doll. They filmed all those scenes in the daytime and just darkened them.
Did they really?
On those shows. Yeah, and they did that with Batman too back then. That was a '60s thing. It's like climbing up the wall. Anyway, yeah, he's one of those directors that is just like right now. I've liked about everything he's done, so I trust him right now. Not like Rian Johnson.
Oh, Rian Johnson.
Rian Johnson. I just I don't trust him. It could be hit and miss because I did like Knives Out, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the Last Jedi, and there was something else he did that I didn't like.
Looper?
Oh, was it Looper? Looper?
I liked Looper.
I liked Looper.
It was okay, I guess. Yeah.
Didn't you not like his Breaking Bad? Was it his Breaking Bad episode you didn't like? Or was that my nephew?
He did a Breaking Bad episode?
Yeah.
I don't
know what
I've
not seen Breaking Bad, so I don't know yet. But he did direct some Breaking Bad, maybe one or two.
I did not know that. I enjoy Looper, but I'm also a sucker for time travel stories, so.
Yeah, me too. Looper was well done, in my opinion. Well, yeah, do we got any more theories for Thor Love and Thunder? Anyone out there in the chat have any theories? Are you you seen it this weekend? Looking forward to it? All that good stuff?
I don't have any more theories, but I would like to just, pack onto or whatever, add on to what you said earlier, just a reminder to everybody we are going to the theater to see it Thursday night. So make sure that if you do not already have your notification set, make sure you head over to YouTube, ring that bell, set your notification because we will be posting our at the theater live review of Thor Love and Thunder that night. So, as soon as we're done, we get out of the show, we're going to give our thoughts on it. Spoiler free, not to worry. So we'll let you know, whether it's worth seeing, if it's good, bad. We'll, kind of give you maybe a brief hint if any of our theories are accurate, which we already know they are 100% of the time, every time. So
we should just post our theories as spoilers.
Do that. So
hey,
yeah,
I see you got,
check that out.
I see you got Galactus fixed.
He's not fixed. He's sitting on Nova's Funko box.
Oh, jeez.
I wanted him up
He's on
again.
top of Nova? That's
Yeah.
not right.
Well, he's the world devourer. Oh, speaking, before we jump into Miss Marvel or the boys, or we could talk about Wonder Man again. But the theory that I know Screen Crush had, Dave brought up last week about, which is a really cool theory. I like it, where Galactus only comes to devour a planet during incursions, and whichever planet caused it, he's going to devour because it'll save the other planet or whatever. I do like that theory. I think that's cool, and it's a cool way to introduce him. But if they move away from the multiverse after Phase 5, then there's no more Galactus. So I really don't think they're going to do that because they're not. I think they're going to once they're done with Secret Wars and all that. I think the incursions are going to stop. They may here or there do something little with the multiverse, maybe with Spider-Man, just because it's so prevalent in its comics. But I don't think they're going to continue, and that would kind of write Galactus out. I think he may just show up during an incursion for Earth, because we know that Doctor Strange started one between jumping to the 838 and the 616. So I think he may show up just like, holy cow, multiple planets to eat. Dude, hot diggity. Have his little bib on. He'll be like, all right, let's go.
All right.
Now, when they do introduce Galactus as the main villain of the movie, do you think they're going to give him a 2-movie thing like they did with Thanos?
No, I don't, because I think I've talked about this before. I do think he's going to be introduced in maybe like Secret Invasion, he is going to be like some planet that the Skrulls are inhabiting now or made their own after, the events of Captain Marvel. He's going to come and eat it. He's going to destroy that planet, and they're going to flee and have to maybe come to Earth, and then they're going to hide out and try to take it over via secret invasion, because they have to show how powerful he is somewhere else. So when he arrives at Earth, all the MCU people who maybe don't read comics will be like, oh my God, this guy eats planets. This is a huge threat. But I don't think it'll be a 2-movie thing. I think it'll just be 1 movie, because as cool as Galactus is, he's a little different villain than, Thanos. Thanos had the whole Infinity Gauntlet and wiping out the stuff, and they've got to bring it back. There's kind of a lot more to this story. Galactus is really just, hey, I'm going to eat your planet. I need this. I need this energy to sustain myself, and that's why I'm going to do it. No hard feelings.
I'm not a bad guy. Okay,
right.
I need to eat, and unfortunately, you're on the planet I'm going to eat.
I have to wonder, now that you mentioned that, I have to wonder if the MCU, if they're going to try to give their version of Galactus more of a a little more, something else other than I eat planets. Like, do you think they're going to try and make him more?
Well, the comics have a pretty big backstory for him. He was the last. He was the last known prior to our Big Bang. He was like the last entity from the last universe, Big Banged into ours, and he survived and became Galactus. He I don't remember how they explained it, but he was basically the last survivor of the last universe. And when Big Bang happened and created ours, he was here. And then his job.
He's here to welcome us all.
Yeah, exactly. So there is kind of a backstory, and they talk about who he was and stuff. And I think more of his story is more about his herald, and originally started with the Silver Surfer, obviously, and why he was willing to lead Galactus to planets to save his own. And he did the best he could to make those planets uninhabited, so Galactus could feed and survive, but wouldn't kill a bunch of people. And then he turned on Galactus when he came to Earth. And
I think they did a great job of explaining what you're talking about in Fantastic Four 2.
Yes,
yeah, Rise of Silver Surfer.
I think they did an amazing job, because there's nothing that shows somebody's backstory and explains something like peering into a Teletubby-like screen that is built inside the Silver Surfer as he's tied down to a chair. Yes, that's right. I'm reminding all of you of the horrific sight that we got to see in that movie, where he decided the best way to relay this information is if I form a view screen in my chest.
Now be careful. We don't want to upset Tundra Walker bad-mouthing his favorite Fantastic Four movie.
God, that movie, I tell you, I don't even know, like, what were the writers thinking when they're sitting around the writing table, like, okay, all right, hear me out. I know that we had some great artwork for Galactus, but clouds are scary, you guys. So I'm thinking we take all of these and throw them out, and we go with a cloud. I think that's the way to go.
Just the way you said that.
Okay, here's a question. Since we know we are getting both the Fantastic Four, probably coming sooner than the X-Men. We're getting both the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in the MCU at some point. You had to watch one of these movies every day for the next year. Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, or X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh, really?
The newest Dark Phoenix or X-Men 3?
No, the Dark Phoenix one. God, The Last Stand, too. I guess you could choose either of them because they're both horrible.
Dark Phoenix. I would watch Dark Phoenix.
I think I would go with Rise of the Silver Surfer. But it's been so long since I watched it. I may just be glossing over, how much I disliked that movie.
I mean, at least, they have the new cast in the Phoenix saga. That was the only thing that tipped the scale for me.
Yeah,
I like the actors in those roles.
I remember when we saw it in theaters, and Yeah, no, it didn't do it for me. Yeah, I guess I. Oh man, that's tough. I guess Silver Surfer. I don't like any of those movies that you just presented. I recently rewatched Silver Surfer. When I
Wonder
say
Woman 84.
maybe a month or so ago, I rewatched Fantastic Four 2 to get some video clips. I always do that where like I'm trying to find video clips for something, and I end up like watching the whole movie. And I remember I'm like, why did I do that? That movie was so dumb.
Why did I do that to myself?
You know,
Yeah, why did I do that to myself?
and Dave bringing up Wonder Woman 84. I think for those of you that were here on Wednesday with us, we started a new thing, Let's Play, where we play superhero games. There is a Wonder Woman game coming out. And I really hope we don't have to mute Doug during the Let's Play Wonder Woman, because he's ranting about Wonder Woman 84 the whole time.
It's got to be better than the movie. So we'll look at it that way.
If it's not better than a movie, it's going to be the shortest stream we ever have.
All right, guys, we've solved the game.
Do you remember back in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, when every time a movie came out, they tied a video game version of that movie? Every single time. And I don't know what it was something licensing fees, I guess, was the big deal behind it or whatever, but could you imagine if they made a Wonder Woman 84 game based on the movie?
I can't get off the mall level. Oh my god, that camera keeps catching me, and I gotta start over. I'm ready to just quit. The ending's pretty easy. All you do is hit the talk button.
Yeah.
You guys, just be good.
Everyone give up your wishes, Well, honey,
right.
I know that you wished that your cancer would go away, but Wonder Woman said that we've got to give up our wishes.
Sorry, Grandma, you gotta go.
Sorry.
It was such a good movie.
There was so much wrong with that. Oh
a
boy!
Good, wholesome family movie. That
get ready to see me. Here I go. I'm gonna. The ending of that movie made no sense at all.
The worst thing about that movie, quite honestly, I felt like it had so much potential.
Yes, it
with
did.
Pedro Pascal in it. Patty Jenkins was back after the first one was so good. I was like, can't wait for this movie. And then I remember it was one of the first ones.
So much better.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones we basically reviewed post-COVID, and it was on HBO Max. And I remember just sitting down, and I stopped watching it halfway through. I'm like, one, I'm not going to stay awake. I have to go to bed, and two, it's terrible. I'm like, and then I was really hoping. I'm like, okay, maybe the end makes up for it, And then you guys were like, yeah, that's terrible. And I watched the end the next night, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Keith, I subjected myself to it twice.
I did too. I ended up watching it a second time.
A Morbius for you, huh? That's your Morbius.
Yeah, it was my Morbius. So I watched it the first time, and I kept thinking to myself, like, I know this is bad, but that's not what they told me. Patty Jenkins specifically said during DC's Megadome or whatever that this movie was so amazing, that this movie was the greatest thing that had ever been put together, and it was so good that it had to be seen on a theater screen. And it was definitely not going to go to streaming. And they said, you know what, Patty, this pandemic, it is not going away anytime soon. She finally gave in. She said, all right, put it on streaming. Very disappointed. This amazing movie. People won't be able to experience it on the screen that it was intended for. And I sat down and I watched that movie. And I thought, she had to have been talking about something else. Because I literally had a notebook, just a list of everything. I'm like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Here's how they should have done this. Why did this happen? That plane shouldn't have fuel. It's at a museum.
Right.
Wonder Woman is Spider-Man now? Okay. So I'm sitting there jotting this down, and I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, you know what? It was kind of late. I watched that last. Let me get some rest. I'll watch it with fresh eyes. Gave it another, and I'm looking over my notes to make sure. Okay, did this actually happen the way that I originally? And I'm watching. I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, this movie is terrible.
Now, how many movies has Patty Jenkins done?
I don't know. I'd have to Google it.
I know it's not many. It's probably less than 10. But when I saw Wonder Woman, the first one, I was like, all right, she could have
I liked the first one.
Yeah, she had potential. But now she's like, for me, when I see her name on a movie, since she's up, one down for me, I don't know what else she's done. But that would mean, like, it's kind of iffy. You know, it's not like Christopher Nolan with the first two Batman, and then he had Prestige, and what was the other one? Memento. Like before that, he was like 4 for 4. And then he did The Dark Knight Returns. I was like, okay, yeah.
That's
and Interstellar, I thought was terrible.
See, I liked Interstellar.
Yeah,
I'm not even seeing that here.
Pacing thing, you know. And I know you like the slower paced movies.
Yep, no, I know. I certainly know why you did not like it. It was not fast paced by any stretch.
But it doesn't have to be fast paced either.
Was she a writer for Interstellar or what?
What's that, Doug?
Was she a writer for Interstellar or what?
No, that was Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay.
I think she only had directed 1 or 2 movies before she did Wonder Woman.
Yeah, before Wonder Woman, 1 movie.
What was it?
Monster.
Won an Academy Award. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a good movie.
She did Monster in 2003, then Wonder Woman in 2017, then Wonder Woman in 1984. And then the movies that she has coming up are Cleopatra, Rogue Squadron, an untitled Wonder Woman 3rd film, and then she's also going to be a writer for an untitled Wonder Woman spinoff.
And she was almost the director of Thor: The Dark World.
That's right. That's why
So it could have been worse.
I look at it as she was smart enough to get the hell out of there.
She probably would have. Oh God, could you imagine if her career would have went down in flames during Dark World, and then they asked Zack Snyder to make the first Wonder Woman movie?
Dude, why are you doing that to me?
Zach,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're pretty divisive. Your Superman was an interesting choice, but you know what? We're gonna try it again. Got this new Wonder Woman movie out. We want to set up the Justice League. Batman v Superman, not your best work, but for some reason, weird people on the internet liked it. We're gonna give you a Wonder Woman. Come on, try it again.
It's going to be really dark.
How many people can Wonder Woman murder in this movie? Only 200?
And exactly what? How big of a screen do I have to put it on? Well, it's got to be, you know, widescreen. It's going in a movie theater. Oh, God, really?
I want to pour 3 sepia.
How many colors am I being forced to use? All of them?
Whatever the human eye can see.
Oh. Can't be in black and white. Are you sure? No, Zach. What the?
Just so you guys know, Tundra Walker's here. No bad mouthing Rise of the Silver Surfer. But he's coming from London, Ontario. He's on vacation. And he joined us tonight. Thank you, Tundra Walker. We do appreciate you coming out here.
Jolly old London, Ontario.
I was about to say, what?
Are you having fish and chips tonight, Tundra Walker?
No, he's having gravy on his fries.
What is that called again? It's
Poutine.
Yeah, yes.
Poutine, that is so good though. Have you had it? Oh, it's good.
I've never had.
Yeah. That's not bad. I actually had somebody make it with sausage gravy though, breakfast sausage gravy, and it was good, really good.
Oh, yeah.
Believe it or not, on fries. I know it sounds weird, but it was good.
As long as the fries are crispy enough so that they're not just like.
They were.
Oh, I would like that.
And you got to get to them fast too, because they will get soggy. But
I mean, it was about like the same thing as if you'd put some on some hash browns. It was good.
it's like chili cheese fries, but with a different flavor.
Yeah. I can dig it. All right, should we move on to Miss Marvel since we?
Yeah, we did do best. We completely sidetracked and we were talking about Thor and somehow got into everything else.
Just remember, tangent time.
Right,
Tangent time.
I'm telling you, I got to make a little animation for that.
There we go. We got the Miss Marvel sign up now. It sucks that I couldn't get a rewatch in with how busy this last week was, so I only was able to watch it the once.
I only watched it once also. I did
Same.
enjoy this episode. I think nothing wrong with the episode, I'm saying, but we really need to see how the rest of this plays out to really understand if this episode was good or not. You know, the whole time travel aspect with her being back at the train, I was like, okay.
I think they need to slow it down a bit.
Well, we know they can't because they only got 2 episodes left.
I know, but I wish we would have given it more because it feels like they're all of a sudden rushing it. It's like they realized towards like the end of their production, and like, oh man, we only have the budget for 2 more episodes. Okay, fuck. Introduce this team up and send her back to the past and
Yeah, I thought it was nutty. I mean, maybe this is a show I should have binged, but I obviously can't wait and then binge it because of our format. But when they all were so welcoming to her, and then like you said last week, they just kind of turned on a dime, and now they all want to kill her, right? And then this episode, that's all they were. They were just thugs chasing her. I was like, all right, well, if that was an extended movie scene, if that was all spliced together, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's because it's spread out over 2 episodes, and they're just like mindless thugs coming after her, because they don't really have lines. And then she's introduced to this new ally, and they slowed the story down for that, and then all of a sudden it picks up again. It didn't seem very, it didn't flow very well.
See,
for this episode.
Oh, and Tundra Walker said he liked the travel and the recurring joke about her stuffed animal. Yes, the flying teddy bear. That was great.
The flying teddy bear. Yeah.
The one thing that I hope they get back to, or she learns, or I think needs to happen to really sort of help land this ending, is more about the Red Daggers. I mean, she was there. She kind of learned a little. She learned stuff from them, but we didn't learn too much about them. And then all of a sudden she's back in time. So I'm kind of hoping she learns about them through her, great grandmother, because obviously she's at the time of the train. First thing I thought too was, oh, she's going to be the one who puts her mother into, her grandfather's arms on the train and gets her there or whatever.
She's using the thing.
Ooh, that'd be a weird
Trail of Stars.
Yeah, and
so
then
it's basically which Harry Potter movie was that where he was the one who helped himself using time travel. Oh God!
Was it Chamber of Secrets or was it? Yeah, it was.
No, it was the one after Chamber.
Yeah, it was Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, it's same plot.
Yeah, but once again, they pull it off. It can be good, but I was like, I really would have liked to learn more about the Red Daggers. But as long as they get it done before the show is over, I think it'll still be good. And I'm still enjoying it. The actress, I think, does a great job. Pretty much everyone on the show is doing a really good job with the role. They could give a little bit more to the clandestine, like Dave said. We met them, and then all of a sudden,
you guys to explain to me how is the Department of Damage Control? How are they so incompetent? Like
they're a brand new department.
What even was that?
They really don't have any regulations yet. They don't know what they're doing. They're just flying off the cuff.
Well, just so you know, there's a reason why they're so incompetent, so stormtrooper-like. Because that prison we saw is the same one we saw from the She-Hulk trailer. So when she's working as a lawyer, probably for damage control and superhero, they're she's going to have to, well, they really bumbled this. Yeah, fine, okay. But, the heart of the matter is... Because I kind of like that we saw that prison, and I was like, oh, I think that's the one from She-Hulk. So I watched the She-Hulk trailer again, and it is. So at least we know that there's going to be some synergy between She-Hulk and Miss Marvel a little bit. So,
which I like. I love when when these series actually play into the larger MC universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I like seeing that. I loved when we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like actually referencing events, talking about the blip and talking about like how the world was affected. When we saw, Oh my God,
Zemo.
Zemo. Thank you. When we saw Zemo come back, and when we saw the people from Wakanda show up, it was like, oh, okay. See, I feel like this belongs. It fits within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I loved it. I ate that shit up, and I loved WandaVision when we saw when we saw the officer come back, and even Darcy. I didn't even mind seeing Darcy again.
Well, I was happy to see Darcy because I think as a scroll, she redeemed the character a little bit. So I was happy because her character in Thor 1 and 2 was so incredibly annoying. Every time she was on screen or said Mew Mew,
Mew Mew.
Mjolnir, I just cringed. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I was glad she made a comeback.
But yeah, and that was like one of my chief complaints about Moon Knight. I felt like it felt so separated from the MCU. Like it didn't feel like it felt like its own thing. Like it took place in its own world. And
we're
hell, maybe it did. Maybe it was all in his
world.
head. Who knows? But it didn't feel like it was part of the MCU. And then we get back to Miss Marvel, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely in the MCU again. It was like such a jerk in the steering wheel. All of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's referencing these other heroes. There's actually things that are happening. I'm waiting for Captain Marvel to show up.
It was like there was someone in the back seat who really wanted to go to the Capitol, but they couldn't go. So they lunged at the steering wheel.
But yeah, for the most part, I am enjoying it. There are, I've had my nitpicks about Miss Marvel. There are certain things that I'm just like, oh, that's stupid. Like, and I don't. Yeah. Okay, so I got another question for the two of you. What was that thing that the Red Dagger guy popped up in their lair? What was that? A view screen? What was that thing?
It's a Scooby-Doo periscope.
Are you talking where he was showing what the Jin's universe and our universe together?
Yeah.
It was just like something Iron Man would have, where it kind of shows.
It seemed like overkill.
Well, you got to assume they're a
magic
pretty
3D screen that we're going to pop up so I can show you literally one thing, and then we're going to put it back down. And it's like, and we will never talk about it again.
Well, when we learn more secrets about the Red Daggers, that's when we'll see more of it. We'll be like, oh, you want to know our history? And they'll it'll come back up and they'll run through their history. This is so-and-so. He was the first Red Dagger. He knew your grandmother. She's like, I met him in the past. That looks just like him. It'll be awesome.
That's Kang.
That's Kang.
Oh, tangent time.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
I saw a theory that I kind of didn't like, but I wanted to put it up to you guys. I meant to send this over to you before this, so you had time to think about it. So I hate to put you on the spot. There was a theory that the way Wanda survives is that Kang goes in there right before she's about to die at the end of Multiverse of Madness and basically captures her and starts using her power for to start incursions and basically she's going to be the catalyst for Secret Wars while Kang basically harnesses her power to do so. I was like, I kind of like that, but I kind of don't like it either because they would almost be getting to Secret Wars now as opposed to letting it build up a little bit. Because I think
it also says that he's not powerful on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would lessen his power or, big bad sort of presence if he has to use other people to do that.
Yeah. He's not like Parasite from Smallville.
What are we at? 51 minutes.
52.
All right.
All right. Got it in early.
But yeah, I think I first read it, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, kind of mixing him in there. Because we know we're probably going to see Kang showing up in previous MCU scenes, kind of a lot like Endgame did, where he's maybe working things a certain way because it has to go a certain way, but using Wanda to bring incursions about. I was like, I don't want that to happen. I think Wanda is going to be her own sort of separate entity. I do, we've kind of talked about this. Can she be redeemed? I think she can be redeemed, but not the public. She has done so much bad. She's going to do something to probably save the universe. Sacrifice herself.
And
to
nobody
save the
will
universe.
ever know the sacrifice that she made.
Exactly. Then that line will make so much more sense.
That line is never going to make sense.
Like the line, "You didn't kill Anakin. I killed Anakin," or whatever. And then the line, "Well, Darth Vader killed your dad." It makes sense now.
They had to make a whole series to make that make sense.
That's the only reason they made
Crazy.
it.
I did not know until he said that. It was all different. I would just open my eyes. Now it all makes sense.
Goodbye.
Even that stupid blade thing that they're holding on to do the horizon. That makes sense now.
Okay, back off tangent.
They made a whole movie just to explain the dice hanging in the Millennium Falcon that you see once.
Here's how they got it. Here's that one trip. 3-hour movie.
Right.
In 4:3 sepia.
I was really wondering how Han Solo got his last name. Oh, he was by himself, so
He
made a whole movie about it.
He had no family.
But back to Miss Marvel. Tangent time over. Back to Miss Marvel. I got a question for the two of you, and it's my turn to put you on the spot. All right.
42.
So far, in most of these Disney Plus Marvel series, the end credit scene has something to do within the universe of that show, right? So at the end of Falcon and the Winter, at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's where he opens up the case, right? Or am I misremembering? What was it at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
No,
that was in
They're telling everybody she's going to sell they're going to go big time. Sharon Carter was.
Right,
Oh,
Sharon
that's right.
Carter. She was walking down. Right. So I feel like that was. I don't know if that was setting up something else or if that was just kind of living within the realm of that show.
That is setting up both Secret Invasion and Armor Wars. Scroll.
Then we
and
have,
she's selling Stark Tech.
Then we have Hawkeye and that mess showing us the.
Why did you even bring that up, Doug? Now I'm angry.
And then we had WandaVision, which gave us the whole "You're Needed" up there.
Well, yeah, the WandaVision led right into Multiverse of Madness, where she was at her little hut studying the Darkhold.
That's right.
I got to step away for a second, guys. I'm going to mute myself, okay?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, what was... Oh, yeah, Sharon... So WandaVision was her studying the Darkhold.
Was her, that's right, because then they ended up redoing it, adding in like more trees and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was her studying the Darkhold.
What was Loki? Because I know they had a post-credit scene.
That was... what was his end credit scene?
They had a post-credit scene in episode 4, so we knew he survived getting, zapped to Aelith. But what was the post-credit one? Oh, was that when he came back? And he ran into Mobius and the lady and the Kang statue was there? Or was that just at the end of the episode?
End credit scene? No, there was no actual post-credit scene for Loki season 1 finale. But there was a little short showing Loki's TVA file getting stamped with a message alerting us to a season 2.
That's right. Okay, that's right. We did get the post-credit in episode 4, but nothing at the end. That's right.
Right. So I'm wondering, for Miss Marvel, do you think they're going to use their end credit scene to just let us know there's going to be a season 2?
I think it's going to set up...
It's going to set something up, or do you think it's just going to be another musical? Maybe Bollywood.
If it's a musical, I'm going to quit watching as soon as possible. I think it's going to set up the Marvels. I think it's either going to be, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, or maybe just Captain Marvel, reaching out to her saying, hey, we need your help with something. And it's going to lead directly into maybe not Secret Invasion and the Marvels, but at least the Marvels. Because we did see WandaVision's lead her into Multiverse of Madness, which was her next appearance. So I do think Miss Marvel is going to lead her into her next appearance in the Marvels.
Yeah, that would make sense. I could see that. As soon as Dave gets back, I'm curious what he thinks. But I also I'm curious what our watchers, what our audience thinks as well.
Well, I know Tundra Walker's laptop crashed. He just texted me, so he's out.
All right.
I don't know if anyone else is still out there in Chatland, but if you are, please let us know what you think the post-credit scene may be for Miss Marvel. And we'll wait for Dave to get back. You know, it's funny because I love the way Disney Plus sort of lets us know there's no post-credit scene. We always get, the initial credit blurb, and then it goes right to the little window, and we see the thing, and it's like, okay, there's nothing, I can get out of here.
Yep.
But every other time, it's like, okay, I got to watch all of this, okay, I don't see anything.
You know what I actually don't like about that is they designed the credits to fit within, because they already know at what point they're going to shrink the window down. But the thing is, sometimes I do actually want to see the credits to see like what actor played this or what this music was called or who did, whatever. And I'll go to try and re-enlarge in the window, but the text doesn't get any bigger. It's still shrunk down because they purposely made it that way for the small window. And it's like, oh, that's a pain in the ass. So I'm sitting there trying to, all right, where's my glasses so I can try and see what the,
See, when I move it back
so
over,
old.
it's large size, because I do the same thing. I like to look. It's how we saw the makeup artist for Kate Bishop. So we do think, nothing has been confirmed, that Kate Bishop is showing up in this season of Miss Marvel. Which I don't know how they're going to work that in.
Maybe it's something they fixed. I know the past couple of times I did it, I went to go enlarging it, and the text was still small, but the window, was full screen. Or my eyes are really that bad.
You're getting older, Doug. I'm sorry.
I am. Oh.
But that makes me think. When the heck would we see Kate Bishop if she is showing up? Like, why else would she have a makeup consultant on Miss Marvel?
Well, maybe they're going to do a setup for Miss Marvel joining the Young Avengers.
Oh, you know what? It could, because
Kate could hey, we need your help. We're forming a team.
and that could be because there is, a lot of rumors. Not only is MODOK and Kang going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but there's been a lot of rumors that the Young Avengers will be formed by the end of that movie. So you're right, maybe. And Kate Bishop has been rumored to show up in there too. So
Yeah.
that could be the bridge getting Miss Marvel into the Young Avengers.
Well, I've been saying for a while now that I think that that's going to be the next big push that the MCU does, and I think that falls in line with what I was kind of saying with our theories on Thor. I think they're trying to push away the old heroes to make room for the next generation.
No, I definitely think you're right, because the difference between the comics and the movies, you can get new writers and authors and keep saying the same story with the same characters.
Yeah. Yep.
If they don't want to recast, they need new heroes. And honestly, that's fine, because we've already gotten, 12 years of the MCU, and they could, with new characters, they could do another, 15, 20. By that time, if they're ready, they could do a whole Flashpoint and just start over again.
You ready? You ready to feel old?
I don't want to feel old, but yes.
How many kids are going to be, watching these Disney Plus shows or watching these movies and thinking, man, I have to go back and watch this old movie that came out from before I was born. Iron Man. So I can understand the MCU.
I think that they're making a mistake by having all these young kids, because the comics to young kids aren't as big as they were when me and Keith were that age. So you should be making, and people mine and Keith's age have all the, they have all the buying power right now. And that's what they want to see, the things that they grew up with, not just to, kind of push them to the side anymore. That's just my opinion.
I almost wonder if they're thinking of it from a big picture point of view. Look, this generation really isn't into comics as much as previous generations were. Let's make a whole bunch of movies to lure them into like, oh, I want to learn more about these characters, so I will start reading comics.
Well, did you ever like? I can't think of any like characters that this would be the case for in my growing up. But if you had a character like, say, Miss Marvel, and the girl, like, you know, and they want to get girls to watch, and that's like their same age, do you think that they're going to follow them through their progress through the MCU as a fan, or do you think they'll be like, oh, that was a cool show, and then move on to something else?
I think they would follow because I know there's a lot of Wanda stans. Thank you. I used a kid word.
Wanda stans.
And I used it correctly. Thanks, everybody. I'm here all week. I think there's a lot of Wanda stans who went back and watched some of the older movies because she was in it, and then watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because she was in it. And I think there will be fans of Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, and some of these, you know, Ironheart, Wiccan, and Speed when we finally see them as older kids. I think they will be like fans and kind of watch their future things. And that'll be, you know, Disney and Marvel's way of getting them to like other heroes. Like, oh, you saw them with this, and now you're going to want to watch, like if they watch Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania and they all show up and they all watch because of that, then they're carrying on and maybe they find new characters they like. While I agree with you, our generation has the buying power now, but Disney doesn't think of just the right now. They are thinking, you know, 20 years down the road when those kids have the buying power too. They know that for the most part, at least me, I'm going to watch it all. You know, I like the newer heroes. I like the older heroes.
Mm-hmm.
They would really have.
That was my point. That's my point. That I don't think this younger generation. I think they're catering to them too quickly because there's tons more of our generation that's into our heroes, and then switching to a younger set already to get the younger viewers. I mean, it's obvious that that's what they're doing, and they're obviously trying to set up for 20 years down the road. But I think that we're still riding our wave here.
I just
finally
think,
got what we wanted to see on screen, and now they're going to shift to something else already.
But I think they're doing it more so because, like I said, unlike the comics where you can get a new author, a new, you know, artist to kind of start it up again and change it up again, these actors don't want to do these roles for 40 years in all these movies.
They don't want to be typecast for one thing.
So they're kind of moving in this direction for a little bit. But I do think at some point, if they continue with the MCU as it is, you know, not restarting it or doing anything else, I think we'll get a new, you know, Tony Stark. I think we'll get a new Steve Rogers, and we'll see these characters again. They just want to get some time between them. I think it's the same reason why we're not seeing any X-Men. We're hearing more about the Fantastic Four because Fan-Four-tastic is farther out than Dark Phoenix, and they like want those memories of those terrible movies as far away before introducing them into the MCU. I honestly think they're not like pandering to the kids per se. They're just taking these stories and starting them, so when they recast, it'll be far enough away from seeing Steve. You know, I almost call him Steve Evans. Chris Evans is Captain America, and Robert Downey Jr., and people won't be as upset about the recast, even though I don't.
My assumption was that was why Robert Downey Jr. showed up in movies like Tropic Thunder and that. Oh my God, who was in it? It was basically a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake. But he showed up in.
Oh, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, it was Galifianakis. I can't remember the title of that movie.
Due Date.
Huh? Due Date. Yes.
Due Date.
Thank you. Due Date. Yeah. I think he showed up in those movies, or like he wanted to take those movies like as a way to look. I know you have seen me in like 13 Iron Man related, movies, whether it's Avengers or Iron Man or whatever. I know you see me in all these, but look, I can do other roles. I can do other things. Come watch me be another character. Stop asking me Iron Man questions.
I actually went and saw the movie The Judge at the theater that
he
was in. Yeah, and when I saw the preview, all I could think of was the previews that they had in Tropic Thunder. You know, all the fake previews and all the overacting.
I loved those.
And then I saw him punch a cabinet or something and turn around with a stern face for the judge. I'm like, that's hilarious because he's trying to be serious, but he's already mocked it before.
Right. Oh God, I remember the fake preview that he was in. It was like he was a monk or whatever with Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
Maguire. Oh my God.
You know, Dave, you make a good point though, but think about it, even though we're losing Steve Rogers as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, we have, and quick transition here because we're going to talk a little bit about the artwork that we got released for Wakanda Forever, where we get our first glimpse of Namor, the Submariner, who's showing up in Wakanda Forever, Atuma, who is an Atlantean, warlord, usually at odds with Namor, but they'll probably be together for this. And then we get, Namorita, and we get a different kind of version. These, we heard a while ago that these were going to be sort of Aztec, sort of Atlanteans, I guess. I don't really know how they're doing it. And at first I was a little hesitant, but seeing the artwork, I think it looks pretty cool.
You say that one's called Macarena? Is that what you said?
Namorita, yes. That is Aquaman, or oh my God, that is Namor's cousin. But
these pictures from Avatar are crazy.
They certainly are. But I think, what Dave said, the characters that we grew up with, we're going to start getting some of them. We're going to get Namor in Wakanda Forever. We're getting what, is the most anticipated Disney Plus series of all time, Wonder Man at some point. These are the characters but we're getting the Fantastic Four. And, tangent time, there was a rumor today.
We're getting Madam Web, okay?
Unfortunately, that's in the Sonyverse. But there was a rumor on 4chan today. How reliable it is, I don't know. Probably not very reliable. But they were saying that the Thing, Ben Grimm, is showing up in She-Hulk. Which I originally thought, I'm like, no, there's no way. But, maybe. Maybe we see him, apprehending somebody. Thing had his own adventures at times. He had his solo comic for a while. No, post. I think he will be the Thing in it. Because I do think the Fantastic Four is not going to be like getting their powers post Endgame. I think they got it way back when, and they've been, traveling the multiverse or doing. I think that's how they're going to introduce them. Like, we've been traveling the multiverse, the negative zone, and all this other stuff, and we see incursions coming, and we see this and all that, and he's gonna be that character that brings information to what's left of the Avengers and everything. But what do you guys think of the artwork? The concept art.
It's different. Were these all drawn by different people or something? I'm assuming
they were, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm seeing like some sort of 3D almost art, a little bit flatter art. Now, what is the difference between the people with the wings on their feet and the blue people?
Well, I
don't know anything about Namor.
Namor is a lot like Aquaman in the sense that his mother.
So he's huge and bulky and drinks beer and.
No, thank God no. But he's basically his mother is a human, or his mother is an Atlantean. His father is a human, and he's basically the first mutant. He is a mutant. That's why he can fly with those little wings on his ankles, even though they're not so little in the artwork. But he's the first mutant, and that's why he's not. He's neither.
First mutant.
You're right. Apocalypse was the first mutant, but he's gonna be the first mutant in the MCU.
Okay. You think?
Okay.
Possibly, yes.
Nice recovery.
Thank you. Well, they
have we settled on what Pietro was?
You mean Ralph Boner?
The Boner.
From
from Age of Ultron?
Yeah, from Age of Ultron.
It seemed like they got their powers more.
I know in that movie they claimed that Wanda and Pietro got their powers from the Infinity Stone, but then they changed it in WandaVision to where she had her powers all along, and they were just strengthened by the Infinity Stone, and she was actually a witch and not a mutant or whatever. And then they've kind of brushed Pietro under the rug, after he got, shot several times, because obviously the fastest man alive gets, shot by bullets. But he should be able to.
Rather than grabbing the kid and running away, he stayed in front and got shot. Good.
Good job, buddy.
And just to clear my name, Namor was referred to as the first mutant for a long time in the comics, until they created Apocalypse.
As comics do.
Yes.
Retcon.
Which I think is a good retcon. I really hope at some point, with how bad Fox butchered a lot of the X-Men villains, I really hope we get the Dark Phoenix saga done right in the MCU and Apocalypse.
Hey, third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the MCU is really good at dropping little hints and like trailer post-credit scenes, so they'll set it up better.
Not gonna lie, I said this back when we were reviewing WandaVision, but I thought the way Wanda was powering up and becoming the Scarlet Witch, I felt like that was a better Phoenix Force story than the actual Phoenix movies. Like, the power set was very similar in a way, the costuming and everything. Like, I was like, no, okay, this is how they should have done Rise of Phoenix.
Yeah, they would have done a better job. Having the time from the Disney Plus show to kind of humanize her a little bit and then realize what she had actually done.
That's what helps with the X-Men, is when it's in like more of a series form, or even when you can do the comic books, it helps. Because there's so many characters, and it's so hard to do it like in a movie and try and cram that many characters and give them all enough screen time to give them enough story. Like, you cannot expect to tell the Phoenix Saga in one single movie and also everybody else's story at the same time.
Right, because, you have to show Jean Grey using those powers for good before she just turns flat out evil to have any sympathy for the character. And you didn't in The Last Stand and in Dark Phoenix. They just rushed her to being evil way too quick, and it just lost all impact. You didn't care. You could care less. It was a lot like Dave's favorite movie, Morbius. He was such a jerk, you could care less about him. Not Dave, but Morbius. And,
okay.
I mean, at least I didn't see Wonder Woman 84 twice.
Look, I did it for the channel.
Honestly, now I want to think, what would I rather see again, Morbius or Wonder Woman 84?
Oh,
I might go with Morbius. Yeah.
I cannot do Wonder Woman 84 for a third time. I just could not bring myself to do that. Every time I think about it, like, it's not a bit. I kid you not. Every time I think about that movie, like, God, I just hate it all over again. It's so bad. It's so bad, and it had so much potential.
And you still rated it a 2. It didn't get a 1. It got a 2. What happened?
He was being generous.
Yeah, what's going on?
Because the funny thing is, I think I rated Wonder Woman 84 higher than I did Morbius. But
I did too, but that was before we had really established the Doug system, I think.
Right. I think if I redid it, Wonder Woman would be lower than Morbius.
Oh, way lower. Yeah, because our ratings were kind of like all over the place when it came to... We should actually do that one day during one of our live streams. We should go back, look at what we rated some of our past, like movies and shows and everything, and like update them and see, do they still fit the rating that we originally gave them? Are they higher? Are they lower? Yeah. I think that'd be a good idea. What about you? You in the chat? Anybody who's out there? Would you be interested in seeing us go back and kind of look at our reviews and see if they still stand? Are they still good? Do we need
Pete's rating of Blood? What was that? Bloodshot. His rating of 9.5 on Bloodshot. See if that sticks.
9.5?
I did not give that a 9.5.
I was about to say, I'm like, did you really?
No, I think he gave it a 6 or something.
Yeah, I gave it, if we were doing the Doug scale, it would definitely be lower than that for me. I did not like that movie. I'm just not a big Vin Diesel fan. And I haven't been won over by him like I have John Cena. With the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, I am now... I think I need to rewatch Bumblebee.
The beginning of that movie, beginning of Bloodshot, was okay for me. But, like, once it got to the middle point, it was like... I just stopped caring. And the end was stupid. The end was so dumb.
It really takes a lot to make me, like... What do I got to do tomorrow while I'm watching a movie? And like, this movie bores me so bad. Oh, what do we got at work tomorrow? I should send that email out first thing to make sure.
I'll never forget when we went to go see the Terminator movie, and I started complaining, like in the opening scenes, the guy sitting next to us. You gonna talk through the whole movie?
Remember our buddy in Ghostbusters Afterlife that talked through the
yeah.
whole
Oh my
movie?
God, yeah. Everything was so funny, and then he would tell you where everything came from. Remember that in part one when he did this?
This was in
Yeah,
the
dude.
comic book series, issue 3, page 7, panel 4, where we are first introduced to the shut up.
That's why. That's what they're referencing.
I should be thankful
right
that
there.
I didn't
If you
do
don't
that.
know it, I can steer you the correct direction.
I pushed my glasses up. Well, actually,
Newton bucks.
if you actually go back and you watch the unreleased proto trailer that they had for the X-Men animated series, you'll notice that Wolverine was actually wearing a blue costume instead of a yellow costume.
You know,
It's actually established.
I'm glad you mentioned the X-Men animated
That's
series
canon.
because we know we have SDCC coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
A little less than 2 weeks now. And not only do I think we're going to get some footage, maybe not us, but the people at the actual Comic-Con, some footage of Wakanda Forever, whose
I
trailer
hope so.
should be coming soon because it comes out in November and it's usually 90 days before the movie where we get that first teaser trailer. But I think they might get some footage of Namor and Atuma and maybe even Ironheart in that. Maybe not Ironheart, but at least since we've gotten the artwork here. But we may see some X-Men 97 stuff because we know that's coming out summer of next year. So I wonder if they've got a sizzle reel or something along those lines that we're going to see. Once again, probably not us. It'd be nice if they did.
That'd be cool.
But seeing something for X-Men 97 because, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I don't
So
know.
am I.
I know Doug watched it. I don't think you watched it, Dave, but that was a tremendous cartoon. I rewatched it when it came on
Yep.
Disney Plus just because I hadn't seen it in so long. I think I watched it on Netflix a long time ago for my second run through, and then I watched it again on Disney Plus for like a third run through just because it is so well done. And I hope
It is.
that, I know a lot of the same creators from the original are here, and I don't know if they're going to tie it into the MCU or what they're going to do, but I'm hoping we see something in 2 weeks on it because I'm looking forward to that.
The art style is very, very 80s, 90s. I do chuckle when I look at it now, and I'm like, wow, literally everybody has like rippling muscles, and it's very reminiscent of superhero comics at the time. Everyone's hair is like gigantic, and
Yeah, that's the Rob Liefeld work where everyone's got to be super muscly, and it's like, I'm huge because I'm a superhero.
but the writing was phenomenal. It was so good. When we were doing videos for WandaVision, I went back and I was watching episodes that she was in, that Wanda was in from that animated series. And man, it still holds up. Like some of these series from back then, they still hold up.
And, a lot of them, did a lot of their stories was taken from the Claremont run.
Yeah.
X-Men, and those were always, he did such a great job of every character was very well rounded. Every character, had trials and tribulations. He took time and introduced everybody. Everyone was a little different. A lot like, if we want to transition to it, a lot like how The Boys handles every character. I mean, this episode, I think one of my favorite parts of this whole episode was seeing Butcher in that mind trap, coming to the realization that he is basically his father. I thought that was tremendous. I was like, damn, he's basically his father.
Oh,
With the-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
With the way he treats
He
people and
spends all
everything.
his life trying not to become his father, and he does anyway.
Yep. And I just thought that was so great. And I mean, every character is just so well fleshed out. Every character changes enough to be something a little bit different, but without changing who their core character is. We see it with one of the other, I think, standouts from this episode was Mother's Milk, this whole season. I don't know if we've talked about him so much, but the fact that Soldier Boy, who basically killed his family, is back alive, and him dealing with it, and the PTSD and all the other things that go along with it, and his, OCD because of it coming back to the forefront, and, taking out his wife's new husband because he took her to that Homelander talk, which he was absolutely right. Why'd you do that? You put her in danger or whatever. But it just shows that he is.
And again, going back to what we were saying about like how The Boys has no issue with like pulling directly from reality. Like, hate to say it, but there are people like that fall for that type of shtick. Like, this guy has eaten up everything that Homelander says, and he's got these insane conspiracy theories about like what really happened and the real deal behind Starlight and how she's secretly running her underground ring, and it's like, wow, like it's funny until you remember that this actually happened. Like, we've literally lived through this shit.
Yeah, people who probably like the show have fallen for the same tricks in real life. We get, the whole she's running that underground, kidnapping kids, sex ring, blah, blah, blah. They blamed a pizza owner and Hillary Clinton doing the same thing. And how many people bought that when there's zero evidence? And, the whole, when he said, oh, you're listening to the lamestream media, there's other sources. It's like, oh my God, that they do such a great job of intertwining real events and things, not real events per se, but things that are happening in our world today into the show and incorporating it to a scary degree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, obviously the people who believe that are going to be triggered. And then the people who are kind of in the middle, like I think most of America is, like hovering over it. And then they can see like the references, and they're like, oh, it makes them think of it in a different perspective. I mean, if you ask me, if anybody who's watching these hearings is like not changing their mind, then they just don't believe in truth. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to get all political. I'm just saying this is the way they're doing it on the show. You just believe whatever spin they tell you, and that's Homelander. He's just whatever spin he can put on it. You know what I mean? And everyone's going to eat it up because he's Homelander.
Totally agree. And it's true. It's true because like I said, we've seen it happen in reality, and yeah, it's happening in this show, and it is believable that it would be happening, that people would be like, oh well, hey, I mean, the strongman superhero that I have followed for forever has said this, and therefore it must be true. They're not like, they're not watching the entire series of The Boys like we are, so they don't see all the horrible things he's done. Now, I went back and I was watching that episode again, and I was going to ask you two about this. Did Annie actually record Homelander? Because I know she held up her phone, and that got him scared, and he immediately reverted and went back. You're not supposed to.
Oh, we're practicing lines.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah. So, but it didn't. I didn't see anything. I saw like the camera active on her phone, but I didn't notice like any icons, anything like that. So I'm wondering, did she do that just to scare him and get him to back off, or was she actually recording him? Will there be repercussions for that?
Well, she was actually recording him, because later in the episode, he was like, I know this is a big deal or whatever. He was talking about the ramifications of what she recorded. And that was the one. I had two problems with this episode. One, I'm no longer having a problem with it. We can talk about that in a minute. But I just, they make Homelander like so perceptive, and like he's like, you didn't think you could come here without me noticing, but she can, be filming him without him noticing. I was a little like, they needed to do something, but I didn't know if that was right.
Mm-hmm.
But I did love the way he changed, because he's all about perception. As soon as she said that,
yes.
The way he changed. I think Anthony Starr, everyone on the show is great, but how great he has been this season playing Homelander. And that was a great scene showing it too, because he was like, oh, you're not supposed to record us while we're practicing lines. And he was so quick to come up with, what was really happening. I just thought that was great.
Yeah. Agreed. He's doing a phenomenal job acting, and it reminds me of the last season where he was having his breakdown in that in the tunnel when he was like laughing, like immediately moving from like laughing to crying to pounding on the wall, and it was like, this guy has friggin' range. He's good.
He definitely,
Yeah, that's why I don't think he's going to die at the end of the season. They got to keep him around as the big bad.
I thought he was going to be, I thought this was going to be his last season until, well, let's give our spoiler alert, until what we got dropped at the end of that episode. They did such a good job of setting that up when Mr. Mind, or can't remember the guy from Payback, what his name was, but when he whispered something to him, and even Butcher, they made emphasis of it by Butcher saying, "What did he say to you?" And Soldier Boy didn't say anything, and then he makes that call at the end, and he's just like, I was doing what I did, and then all of a sudden, that was the spring of '81 or whatever, and it's like, I would have been fine with you having a spotlight. And I was like, Jesus Christ, okay, this storyline is not going to be over next episode. I honestly think
I don't know how they will.
It's almost going to be an Empire Strikes Back type ending, where the good guys are kind of beaten down because it's going to be revealed that they're kind of working together now. And
I wouldn't mind that, because in the previous season, when everything was so wrapped up nice and neat, I was like, this feels off. It doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like the way a season of The Boys should end. Everything is too perfect. Like, I get that they made that reveal at the end that,
head popper?
What's the name is a head popper, but still everything else seemed to be falling in place. Like, Homelander was like knocked down a peg. They killed Stormfront. Annie seemed to have a little bit more power. Huey seemed like he was going to be like actually doing something to help. Like it all felt too nice, and I feel like they really do need to, like, as much as I would hate it in a way, they still need to, I think, end this season with like a, oh my God, holy shit, what is going to happen next? I cannot wait for the next season.
And it better not be as long between season 3 and 4 as it was between 2 and 3.
It's going to be 2 years.
But I can't.
It's going to be like Game of Thrones.
Oh, Jesus. But I can't. It would be Game of Thrones. If they end up wrapping this whole up in the next episode, it better be, Stranger Things 2.5 hour episode. Or it's just going to be too rushed. And I do think it's going to be a very downer ending almost,
Oh yeah, me too.
Empire Strikes Back, Infinity War, where it seems like they're beaten down, and because when Butcher and them find out that Soldier Boy is now with Homelander, they're fucked.
Well, Kamiko's back. Maybe she's stronger than ever.
Well, that's true. You had that theory.
It's going to end with Soldier Boy staring off into the night sky, and he's going to say, "Homelander." And then it'll be Homelander staring, "Father."
And then Ryan going, "Is he my grandpa?"
You think Starlight makes it?
I think she will. But I think she's going to leave the 7.
After what they did...
She already left the 7.
She was fired, Dave, for running a pedophile ring.
Right. She was fired.
Not taking the Homelander breakup. I honestly, the one other scene that I didn't really enjoy too much, which I see why they're doing it and I like it more, but the fact that they brought A-Train back, it's like his sacrifice meant nothing. But the fact, I think now, well, they gave him his heart and they're changing the story. No one's going to know that he actually took him out. And he's got to deal with the ramifications of all of his actions, yada, yada, yada. It might be good. But the fact that they brought him back when he really honestly should have been dead, I'm thinking no main character is going to die. The show is so popular at this point that it's going to be everyone has plot armor no matter what goes on.
How messed up would it be if they went Suicide Squad on A-Train and they took the opportunity to, while they were performing surgery on him, to put like an explosive in him or like a defibrillator or something, like if he steps out of line, we'll cut off your heart.
Yeah,
I did. Doubt that they already did that.
I would feel bad for him. I do feel bad for him only because the shit they're making him do. It's like, yeah, you're gonna do this and do this. We're giving you your old uniform, and
they're like, you can run again now.
Right.
He's like, oh shit, yeah, I can't.
But
if he had to choose sides right now, who would he choose? Now that he's refreshed.
I think
I mean,
I think this might put him over the edge, where he's actually going to start working with Annie
Huey.
and Huey.
I think Huey and him are on a good spot now because Huey got to beat him up, and he was sincerely sorry that he did what he did. Maybe they
yes, finally. Like I wasn't sure if we were actually going to see real emotion come out of A-Train, but he did seem genuine. It took something terrible happening to him for it to, for that to come out. But I think he was actually genuinely apologetic. Like, you're right, I am a shit person.
And he let Huey hit him.
Yeah,
he could have avoided that. He could have fought back, and he didn't. He just let him do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
we'll see. Once again, this show is so hard too. They did such a good job of disguising the fact that Soldier Boy was, Homelander's, I don't want to say father, but, sperm donor. Yeah. They I bet if you went back and watched it, there'd be other hints that is actually the case. And they brought it up, and, I can see
it's not something like crazy out of left field where you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's not that big of a reveal, but it was kind of a big reveal.
No, it definitely was, because it shifts everything. The boys' plan to use him to stop Homelander's now gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Because that's what I thought the whole season was going to be. Soldier Boy is going to stop Homelander. You can see it coming from a million miles, but it's still going to be worth it because it's an awesome story. But now that is definitely not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where it's going.
I don't know if Soldier Boy is going to continue to pretend to work with the boys just to get them around Homelander, so those two, let's get them, we can get them together. And then when Huey and them show up, Soldier Boy turns on them, and it's Huey and Butcher versus Homelander and Soldier Boy, which I think they would get pretty destroyed, and maybe they turn on the run. I don't know how he's going to handle it, if he's going to keep that a secret for now to surprise him.
I think he will turn on the boys, because when Huey confronted.
No, he's definitely going to turn on the boys.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, is he going to pretend to still be allied with them to get them?
I don't know.
In front
of That's
Homelander?
A good question.
I think there's some players that we're not seeing here either, and they've cleverly left them off screen. I think Edgar still has a role to play. The Head Popper and Maeve, they all are going to be in this finale, and they've been off screen, so they could have been cooking a lot of stuff up.
Well, Victoria, I think she, being Edgar's daughter, I think she probably, in the show anyway, I think she thinks similar to him. In the comics, the character that, it's a guy, a senator, he's kind of a dummy, and he's very much just doing things in order to stay in office. But I think in the show, Victoria Newman, I think she is also thinking several steps ahead. And I think we discussed this, I want to say, Dave, it was you who brought this up during one of our past streams, mentioned that she probably did what she did to save Edgar rather than hurt him.
Yeah, I think that there's more to that giving in the Homelander thing than we've seen. I think there's a deeper story there.
Yeah, I definitely think she did it maybe at Edgar's, his teachings, because she knows what's going to happen when Edgar is out of the scene. Homelander is going to implode. And I do think that's still going to happen, but it's going to be a little slower than we all thought. I think all of us thought it was going to be by the end of the season. But I do think that storyline is going to carry over into season 4 with him not knowing how to run a company as well as Edgar, continuing to... he's going to imagine how gleeful Homelander is going to be in the next episode, especially if they trap Butcher and Huey, because he pretty much said, remember what I said I was going to do to Huey? It's happening. And he still means it, even though he was backtracking, when he found out he was being filmed. But he's going to want to use Soldier Boy to trap those two and teach him a lesson. And he is just going to be about as unbearably gleeful about it than any character ever in the history of cinema or television. And it's going to be great.
So, what? Let's take a minute to talk about the Deep. What the hell was that?
He likes octopus. What else do you want to know?
I mean, I thought it was bad enough when he was doing it in the Hero Gasm episode, but
I did think that was only going to be a one-time thing.
right.
And as soon as he brought her into the bedroom, I was like, "Oh my god, I know where this is going."
So with the story, all these superheroes in The Boys, it's pretty much, it's a made up backstory that they all have as far as like whatever Vought created for them. But in reality, every single one of them were, here's a family, they've got a baby, the baby is treated with Compound V, and then as soon as they're old enough and start developing their powers, Vought brings them in, puts them through whatever training program they need to, and turn them into a hero. So with the Deep's case, like he probably, I assume he didn't have like a story similar to Namor or Aquaman, where he was living underwater and raised with, a bunch of fish and King of Atlantis or anything like that. He's probably raised in like Jersey or whatever, and just happened to talk to fish as a kid and realized he had gills when he was 12 or something.
He was raised in the deep waters of Wyoming.
Right.
Well, he probably didn't have gills until he got to Compound V.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like most of these people, they got Compound V when they were babies.
Well, and he probably did too. Yeah.
Right.
Is that what you were saying?
Huh?
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh.
He probably also got it as a baby, and so he's most likely developing this stuff in some, like regular mom. I've got a mom, I've got a dad, I live in a house in, like Dave said, Wyoming or some nonsense, and he's like, no spectacular backstory about, being surrounded by whales and sharks and
he's not the son of the Queen of Atlantis,
right,
and a fisherman off the, off Cape Cod.
Right. He's just the weird kid who can't take a shirt off in the dressing room in high school. In the gym.
What was the phrase? He said, "I'm a great mind," or a great analytical mind. I can't remember the line now. Damn it! I wrote it down. I don't know where the heck I wrote it down at. But I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
He really thinks he's smart.
And he's the one too. Where is he going to land?
Every time I think he's out, they pull him back in. But he's just such a background character. I don't think he's going to bite it. It's like they got something cooking for him.
Oh, he'll accident his way out of it somehow.
Yeah,
I think he's
Skywalker himself out of it.
By he's going to realize, oh, they're hunting Supes. I got to get the hell out of here. And I bet you he's going to go and actually take this opportunity he's going to want to live in the ocean until he realizes, oh, this actually sucks. Like, I miss TV and the internet.
There's not just sexy octopus all over the place underwater.
They'll cut to 10 years later and he's sitting in a coral chair. I said I'll get a job tomorrow.
I called that guy, Mom.
Yelling at his half octopus, half human kids. Oh God.
Oh,
kill me.
All right, there's a Rick and Morty reference right there. I'm Octopus Man. Remember that guy? I get in the fiendish trouble. That's an hour and 42 minutes for those keeping track.
Such a good series. I don't know how they're going to wrap it up in one episode.
They can't. There's no way. The fact that they renewed it for season 4 already makes me think they said, listen, this is what we're going to do. We need to see if you cancel it, if you don't renew us for season 4, this whole cliffhanger is never going to be resolved. And you're going to have people rioting outside the Amazon Studios facility in somewhere, Wyoming. I can't even say in Wyoming. I'm trying to keep a theme here, but I failed terribly. But
Isn't there a show that ended like that? They expected another season, but they didn't get one, and so it ended on a cliffhanger. Wasn't there a show that ended like that?
Oh, wasn't it Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks did end not on a huge cliffhanger, but it was canceled before it really finished its story. But God, there's been a couple that I know were canceled, and I can't think of. Well, The Expanse was, but then that was picked up by Amazon Studios, and they finished its run.
Did either of you watch Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles?
I didn't, but I want to.
That ended on such a huge cliffhanger. If you're planning on watching it, I won't spoil it for you, but huge cliffhanger. And they play with the idea in that series. They play with the idea of time travel way more than I think any of the movies have even wanted to try and broach the topic.
That was Summer Glau.
Yep.
That was the girl from Game of Thrones, Lena Headey.
Lena Headey, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then who was John Connor?
John Connor was played by the only other thing that I remember him from was that show Heroes.
I didn't watch Heroes.
I did watch Heroes.
He played the friend of the cheerleader, who was always recording her while she was testing her powers. But I don't know what else he's been in, if anything.
Right.
But yeah, that ended on a huge cliffhanger, and they never resolved it in any way, which was a shame because it was getting really good.
Could it possibly lead into a movie? One of the movies?
I think so. I think it could have. I don't think
one of the movies that are currently out there.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Will we get another Terminator movie? After, unfortunately, Dark Fate kind of underperformed.
They're never going to stop making those movies. They'll be terrible. And what keeps happening is a new company keeps buying the IP for Terminator. And okay, we've got it this time. This time we're going to make a good Terminator movie. But it's been owned by so many different companies. But they're never going to be as good as the original two James Cameron movies.
Yeah.
And they can keep pulling him out of his house and saying, this was produced by James Cameron, this was written by James Cameron. He doesn't care.
Aren't they coming out with an anime for Terminator on Netflix, or was I dreaming that?
Now that you mention it, I think I remember hearing about that, but I don't know if that... I know they were going to back during Terminator Genesis, and I remember that fell through. They were going to make another series or another animated series, and that ended up never going anywhere. I don't know if they were going to do it after Salvation or not. Or was it Salvation? What was it we went to go see?
Dark Fate.
Dark Fate, thank you. God, they're all just blurring together now.
Don't you forget, we rewatched them all. What was that series called? Timeline to Judgment Day?
Oh, yeah,
Timeline to Judgment Day. Yeah.
That was nice. I really enjoyed watching those movies. Well, I really enjoyed watching 1 and 2 again.
Oh, I guess it is still on track. Look at that.
Part 3 was terrible.
Yeah. As was...
They've already finished 8 scripts for the first season of the Netflix Terminator series.
Nice.
Oh, speaking of, not to go too... Oh, well, screw it. Tangent time already, I guess.
Tangent time!
Tangent time! Did you hear the news about the Fallout series coming to Netflix?
It's not Netflix. It's Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yes, thank you.
I did, and I am very excited about that.
I thought it was on Paramount.
No. But
Paramount's got nothing. They need something.
Paramount...
They got Star Trek and that's it.
They got Halo, which was terrible. But it could be good. What other IPs do they got? You're right, man. I didn't think about that. They got Scream.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
but as far as the Fallout series goes, they are doing filming in New York, of all places.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man,
so
if they can capture the feel of that game for that show, I am going to love it.
I'm wondering, because they said that some of the early rumors or some of the early stuff that was coming out about the filming of it, they were basically saying, yeah, so far we've got a lot of scenes that are taking place in indoor settings, a lot of vault settings, bunker settings, and it was okay, well, that's going to be kind of boring if everything is taking place. But then when they made this announcement that, oh yeah, no, their film crews are now also doing things in New York, and in New York, in Canada, and there was some other state. I don't remember which one, but yeah, they're apparently filming all over the place. So I have a feeling
is this on
they're.
location, or are they just filming like scenery that they can put on a green
No,
screen?
they've got actors that are going out there. So I think what they're doing is in the Fallout series, they've got like a lot of different factions that take place all over the United States. So I have a feeling that my assumption is that they're going to be following some of these different factions, like the Brotherhood of Steel, and some of these other companies that exist in the apocalypse. But I don't think they're going to strictly follow any of like the specific storylines of the games. I think they're going to probably do their own thing.
It'll probably be almost a lot like the game where whoever comes out of the vault, whoever the player character would be, runs into the Brotherhood of Steel, runs into some other things. Do we know where it's going to be? Because one of the things I love about Fallout is it's like every game was somewhere different. We had Fallout 3 was it DC? And then
Fallout 3 was DC.
Then we had Fallout New Vegas, which I don't know if you played. Fallout New Vegas was fun.
As you know, that took place in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. And where was 4 at? Was 4?
Fallout 4 is Boston.
That's right, Boston. And then...
Which is hilarious. I was replaying parts of that, and I forgot that literally all of the NPC characters speak with a Bostonian accent. It's like, oh, wow, they really went above and beyond with that.
I like them apples.
Hopefully, Fallout 5 will be like Florida or something, crazy. Because
I kid you not, there is a modding group that created it, and it hasn't been released yet, but they've been releasing a whole bunch of video footage of it. They put together an entire game basically using the Fallout 4 engine called Fallout Miami.
Oh, wow.
They created all new enemies, all new, scenery, whole storyline, everything. They've got, these people that put together these modding teams are coming up with some crazy cool stuff. The one that recently got released is Fallout London, and it's taking place in the UK. All new assets, all new characters, factions, enemies, everything.
I'm going to have to check that out because that sounds fantastic. Because I think I've just told you guys before, I will never forget Tessie, who just turned 14, like we said earlier. When she was little, I would be playing Fallout 3, and wife and kid would be in bed, and I would just have my headphones on, listening to Galaxy Radio. And they have such a sweet aesthetic that it's like, World War III happened like in the 50s, so all the music is very 50s oriented. So you're just seeing these, happy, poppy sort of 50 songs, while there's just utter desolation and mutants everywhere. And I've always, loved that. They've got to, bring that into the show, or it's going to.
I hope they do.
Because the people who want to watch it are the people who played it, who probably want that feel to it. So yeah, they've got to be doing it. I until proven otherwise, I'll trust that they know what they're doing, which is probably a scary thing.
Well, so far there was that series Man in the High Castle, and there were a couple of this was also set in sort of like a 1950s 1960s America after an apocalyptic event, and it was after Nazi Germany and Japan had successfully won World War II, and so there are parts of the United States that are completely bombed out, and that was an Amazon series. They did that pretty well. There was some really good scenery, and like the amount of money that they put into the show was pretty phenomenal.
And Amazon, they obviously have the money to spend, but I mean the mony they spent.
Yeah, I just ordered something today, and they delivered it today. So yeah, they've got money.
The money they spent on the Rings of Power series, I really think they are trying to be a major player in the streaming services because, I mean, we got The Boys spinoff that's coming, Fallout, Rings of Power, they bought the Wheel of Time, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of that series. I mean, it fit pretty well to the books, and I think it could, catch on as a culty sort of classic. They're willing to spend the money and hopefully make quality television because They want to be a player. They know they spend a bunch of money now and get the fans on their side. That could prove to be very beneficial down the line. And they go after these cult ones. Like, who would have thought anyone would make a Fallout series? I mean, I'm so happy they are.
I know.
Now,
there was a fan project that was made several years ago before Fallout 4 came out, and you could tell it was created by fans. It wasn't the best work. It was clearly homemade costumes, and the actors weren't the greatest. But I would love to see something like done really well. I was actually thinking about that in watching some previews for these shows. I think that's one of the reasons why I just kind of gave up on the CW shows, because they put so little, like money and effort into those shows anymore, that it's like, look, you've got to put at least $1 million into each episode or I'm not going to care.
well, and with that, I mean, they've just got, because I thought the Arrowverse did a pretty good job when it first came out. And they have just got...
When it first came out, but that was also when TV series were still doable.
No, I know, but they've gotten so lazy with their writing. And I don't even watch any of them anymore. I think I was the last one out of us to give it up, but even I couldn't watch The Flash anymore. I couldn't... I probably would have watched Legends of Tomorrow. I think that was the best show out there just because it was so goofy and weird. But everything else they had, I mean, I haven't watched Superman and Lois. I hear that's pretty good, but I'm too afraid to start it just to be disappointed. But Batwoman was terrible. Supergirl, which I liked at first, really just took a downward turn. Black Lightning was good, and that didn't stand too long. I don't know. They were just producing
Black Lightning was
shows.
Pretty good, but it was doing the same thing that the other Arrowverse shows were doing. It was like the same thing. Here's a villain of the week. Okay, let's go down to our secret lair. Here's our team, and
that's kind of the Smallville. That's how they did their first season. It was the Freak of the Week, and then they built from there. It's like what a superhero series does until we got renewed. Now we can go on to a real seasonal story.
They get a little more money after doing that, and
right?
But
really not these CW shows.
Yeah, no. And it's funny because I sometimes like Villain of the Week episodes. And I think they could do a really good job, maybe on a Disney Plus show, where we see a different villain every week, but it's all being masterminded by, someone else. A lot like how The Long Halloween was, and, other really good series where you see a bunch of different villains, but it's all one coherent story that you figure out a lot of it at the end. I really think they could do that. And with what we're hearing about She-Hulk, I mean, we're hearing the Wrecking Crew showing up and the Abomination and, so many different things. We may get a little more of the Villain of the Week type thing, but it'll hopefully be a little more, more well done than unfortunately, the Arrowverse turned into.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? I sent it to you, so you did see it. Kristen Ritter's post for Jessica Jones on Disney Plus. Now, does that mean that she's signed a contract? She's making new episodes?
Well, also they did that updated poster that you sent us, which was great, but they also changed the name of the series. It's now called AKA Jessica Jones, which was Brian Michael Bendis' run on the comic when he was at Marvel. I do think, with what they have done, I do think she is signed on to come back as Jessica Jones. I don't know. Hopefully we see her before her series, a new Disney Plus series. But I think it's definitely pretty much just hasn't been announced yet. Maybe that's something we get at, SDCC in a couple weeks. Confirmation that, Jessica Jones is back and Charlie Cox. Sorry, Finn Jones. They want nothing to do.
Okay.
Yeah. If Mike Coulter came back, I'm okay with him. I thought he did, that show had a good half of the first season until they killed off Cottonmouth. And then the second half of season 2 was good. It just, Cottonmouth died in that show. The first season just plunged. It was almost unwatchable. I had to, force myself to finish that first season. And then season 2 started out, I was I don't know if I can do it. And then, I forget the villain's name now. But once he kind of came into the front, that second half, they had one good season of Luke Cage. And one bad season. Yes, exactly. And so Mike Coulter, I think, could do the job. He'd be fine.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with his performance at all. It's a storyline.
Absolutely.
Almost as good as Iron Fist.
You better shut the hell up.
I'm telling you, Finn Jones should be in. He should have been in Multiverse of Madness, so they could just switch that over right then.
Oh yeah, he could have been in the Illuminati or something. But like, he's not ours.
Oh,
he's a different variant. Oh man,
He's a variant.
what if
This
they get
guy's
him
on the
in
Netflix
themselves?
universe?
Just how much more money would Multiverse of Madness made if we all got to see Wanda destroy Finn Jones' Iron Fist? I mean, I would have seen it probably 10 more times. I hope Carrie's not watching because I know she's a huge defender of Iron Fist.
That was such a bad series. Oh god, it was so terrible. I really thought I was looking forward to it when they had announced that they were going to do Defenders. I'm like, man, this is going to be so good. I love the Daredevil series. So far I've loved Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and I guess Iron Fist happened. And I was like, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great to see all these TV show, these Netflix versions of the Marvel characters team up, because this could eventually lead to them showing up in the movies. And then they bombed it. Oh, it's so bad.
I was like, the Defenders is going to be Netflix version of the Avengers. It's going to be awesome.
That's what I thought it would be.
Yeah. It just didn't live up to it.
Unfortunately, they had Sigourney Weaver as the villain. I had such high hopes for that. And it totally tanked.
Oh, that fight scene in episode 4, I think it was amazing. Where all 4 of them go into that building and they all take on the whole hand. That was about the only highlight of that show.
Yep. You're right.
And then I instantly think back to the last episode of Daredevil and him pummeling Kingpin within an inch of his life, and then I compare that scene to the Defenders. I'm just like, these are 2 different damn shows, man. Like,
you can definitely tell there's different showrunners on those shows.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Kingpin, do you think we're going to see him showing up in any upcoming Disney Plus series other than Echo?
You had to throw that in, didn't you? Well, I think he'll show up on the Daredevil series. Even though that hasn't been confirmed yet. There's been a lot of heat about that. But I mean, he could even, hopefully he starts showing up a lot more. I really hope that we see the Kingpin become this sort of grounded big bad that takes on.
It'd be awesome in the next Spider-Man movie.
Well, we saw, we've already seen in Miss Marvel in, some of the the end credits, we see the Trust a Bro truck, so.
And yeah,
Trust a Bro.
I do hope we see the Tracksuit Mafia come back. And
as far as the show, oh my god, Hawkeye show is concerned, the Kingpin runs the Tracksuit Mafia, as far as I can tell, or at least he has some.
Yeah, he's definitely the leader of them. It's one of his groups he uses to help, and that was as it was in the comics too. So, I think we're going to show up. What do we have? He's probably not going to show up in Secret Wars. Probably not going to show up in Armor Wars. Not Secret Wars. Secret Invasion. Totally, I do that. I say that wrong every time. Damn you, Marvel, for having Secret Invasion and Secret Wars.
Secret Invasion, and Armor Wars.
Yes, they're trying to confuse.
Is that right? That's the most popular storyline in Marvel history was Secret Wars.
And don't forget about Secret Armor.
Yeah, Secret Invasion was the most popular major event in Marvel Comics. I mean, it was really well done. I really liked that series. And unfortunately, Marvel has the thing now. They have to have a big event every year, every 3 months at this point. It seems like. And most of them are just absolutely terrible. And it's even, they're doing Devil's Reign. I think it's over now, but it's still going on in Marvel Unlimited because we're 3 months behind. But there was a graphic novel back in, I think 87, late 80s, where Doctor Doom harnesses the power of the Purple Man and amplifies it so he can basically take over the world. And you're probably like, Keith, why are you bringing this up? Well, for 2 reasons. One, the hero of the story was Wonder Man, because he wasn't influenced by...
Here we go with Wonder Man.
But
you want to switch our little picture on the screen to Wonder Man?
Oh, yeah, let me do it. Hold on.
Is this going to be the new Mephisto, Dave?
But
Yeah.
Man didn't show up everywhere.
basically Wonder Man, he was in like an isolation tank for 30 days while Iron Man was checking some things out because he had just come back to life after being dead or thought to be dead. It was just basically his body adapting and changing. But when he came out, Doctor Doom had planned on, he's like, you got to do the Vision, you got to do Machine Man. And with someone else, he goes, we got to basically hook up this thing so the Purple Man's power works against them. But he did not know Wonder Man wouldn't be susceptible to the same thing. So the reason I bring this up is because Devil Reigns is going on right now, and Wilson Fisk is using the Purple Man to influence his power, like in this almost the exact same thing that Doom had, to influence everybody. And I'm like, this would probably be a lot better if I hadn't already read this, 35 years ago as Emperor Doom. And I honestly, the whole Marvel Comics' theory of we have to have a big event with massive crossovers all the freaking time, it seems like now, is just starting to get CW'd almost. we really need them to go away from it for a while and then come back with something major because it's just getting tired. It really is.
Yeah, I can see every few years, every 5 years maybe, but every story, it's overkill, man.
It is. They do at least, it feels like 2 or 3 a year where there's these major events and they have all these crossover things. So the comics you're reading and enjoying, the story takes a break. Their main story takes a break to deal with, we got to deal with Devil's Reign and what's going on this, yada, yada, yada. And it's just doesn't need to be.
The life of a superhero.
That's right. But once again, the main point is Wonder Man was the hero. He saved the universe from Doctor Doom. And
I think Wonder Man is going to be Keith's Smallville. That's what I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we need to figure out what the Wonder Man theme song is going to be so that way we can play that every time.
He's the greatest hero ever. He's Wonder Man.
I don't see that catching on there.
Does whatever a Wonder Man can.
Wonderful.
He saved the universe, you bet he did.
He stopped Doctor Doom and the Purple Man. Look out, here comes the Wonder Man. Iconic energy makes him strong and indestructible.
Iconic energy? He's got iconic energy?
Maybe. I may have misspoke. Oh, my mic's going.
Sorry, guys, gotta go. All of a sudden, Keith's like,
It just freezes.
yeah, just nothing. I see it moving, Keith.
Yeah, I know. But I don't remember what we were talking about. Were we done with the boys?
Yeah, we were done. We moved
good.
on to Wonder Man.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, Wonder Man, the 500-episode series, yes.
Dave, it's going to be 365 episodes, except leap year when it's 366 episodes.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Yeah, so get ready. We're working holidays.
That's right. We will be streaming every night after we've watched Wonder Man.
And every single episode of the Wonder Man series is going to be a huge event. Huge crossover event. And
they all have cliffhangers. Every one of them.
They all have cliffhangers. So I was going to tell you guys, you remember how I was saying how much I enjoyed the Orville?
Yes.
Yeah.
So their new season came out, and I don't like it. They've made it incredibly episodic. So it does, like, they wrap everything up at the end of an episode, and there's, like, almost no mention of what just happened in the follow. So, you're waiting. You're like, you're ready to start the new episode. Like, oh man, it was such a crazy thing that happened. They've got to talk about. Oh, we're not going to mention. Okay.
Yeah, I was never a fan of the Orville. I tried to watch it just because I'm a Star Trek fan and I like Seth MacFarlane, but I just could never get into it. It just, I don't know.
I enjoyed season 1 and 2, but this season so far is just. They said that it was going to be better, like moving it to Hulu, because it was going to. They finally didn't have any restrictions. They could do and say what they want, tell the stories that they wanted, but it doesn't feel like the budget really got any higher, and it doesn't feel like they're being more. Yeah, no, I mean and it doesn't feel like they're even trying to be any more experimental. Like they could, like they have the freedom to tell different stories, but it's like they want to play it safe, and I don't know why. Maybe Seth MacFarlane is afraid we're going to be canceled any minute. I can't do any sort of long, drawn-out story that could, leave on a cliffhanger or something. But
yeah, he doesn't want to leave anything open when the series is over. Well, that's unfortunate.
The fact that I don't see anybody talking about it, it probably will get canceled. So I don't even know how many people are even aware that, it even came back for a third season.
There's 17 of us.
So, yeah, I don't have very high hopes that it's going to last any longer than this, and it's a shame.
Yeah, well, then you can concentrate on Family Guy again or some new animated show. But I did put up the Thor Love and Thunder screen again because those of you out there, we will be doing our spoiler-free at the theater review Thursday night. So you're thinking about seeing it, you're not sure, or if you know you're seeing it, watch it anyway. Support us on YouTube. We'll be up there. We'll be back next Sunday night here on Twitch to talk about all the spoilers for Thor Love and Thunder, all the spoilers for the season finale of The Boys, which I am very excited about the end of this week, gentlemen. We get Thor Love and Thunder Thursday night. We get The Boys Season 3 finale. It's going to be awesome.
We got to have Invincible. They coming out with a new season?
They are.
This year?
No, it might be
coming out till next year.
Yeah.
Animation takes time, unfortunately.
Oh, that's another show that Amazon has.
Yep.
That they're, to put it in Dave's best friend, Eric Empson, they're really knocking it out of the park.
They're putting it together.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. I mean, we got a lot of stuff, honestly, coming up. We got, The Boys, Thor, Love and Thunder, Miss Marvel. We got San Diego Comic-Con coming out, all the news, D23 coming. Maybe there's going to be another DC fandom.
Things are not slowing down for your fellow nerds.
No, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. So make sure you join us, chat with us, give us your 2 cents. We have our question of the week, which we didn't have this week. I don't think we had it this week. We were going to talk about something patriotic, but
couldn't come up with it in time. Yeah. It was rushed. We had a holiday too.
I'm not feeling patriotic enough.
Well, right now in this country, no one should be. But let's not talk about that. Let's not get into politics.
Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, so much stuff coming out from Marvel. I'm pretty excited. I think Doug is after seeing the trailer. I think Dave hopefully will be when it starts. But, we got that 12-episode Andor series coming up, which the showrunner had an interview, and he basically said season 1 and 2 are going to take place over a 5-year period. Since season 1 is going to be like a 1-year time frame, and then season 2, each 3 episodes is going to be a year. And they have it all mapped out. They know how it's going in. It's leading right into Rogue One. And it just sounds like they have taken the time to really plot everything out and know what they're doing, which I hope leads to quality television. But
my thought process is that they're treating Andor very similar to the way that they do The Mandalorian. For some reason, it feels like they put more money and more effort and more time into that series. Like, just from the previews alone, I'm getting excited for that series. The story at first, when I first heard they were going to make that series, I was like, I don't care. I don't care about another series taking place in that time frame. But watching the previews, I'm like, holy shit, that looks really good. Like, I'm legitimately excited for it now. Like, it looks like a good high production value. It looks better than Obi-Wan.
It does seem
that's hard to do.
It does seem like it's going to be dealing more with, the common sort of peoples dealing with the Empire as opposed to Jedis and all that other stuff. So it's going to give, even though I would rather this be more about, Crimson Dawn and Maul running it and what's going on with that, which would be a cool series to have. At least this is getting away from, Vader hunting the Jedi
and
all that other stuff. The Skywalker saga, exactly. It deals more with the forming of the rebellion and why the common folk were willing to take up, arms against this almighty empire.
Who are they going to have a riveting show where they all form a union?
They are, yes.
Now, how many episodes are going to take place on Tatooine?
Well, let's see. We got 24, so probably at least 16. Did I do my math right? Hold on. Let me check.
Do they got to kill a crate dragon? Because I got to see that too.
Well, the Tusken Raiders have to eat. And sorry, Dave, I'm not going to
Mandalorian-
use your term, sand people for them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Did Mandalorian get like 10 million per episode?
I think it was 5 million per episode. That may be up now, but I know first season was like 5 million an episode. Because
God, I can't wait for Mandalorian season 3.
February
That show is
2023
so
now.
good. Such a good show. And that was another one where when I initially heard about it and heard that they were going to make it, I thought that it was going to be Boba Fett, and I'm like, man, I don't care. I don't want to see that movie, that show. It's going to be dumb. I have no interest in it. And then the minute I sat down and I watched it, and that music played, and I was like, this is so good. They've got me hooked. And then there was enough comedy and there was enough action, and I was like, okay, you won me over.
With that big reveal.
The minute I heard it was Filoni, I knew it was going to be good. Go ahead, Keith.
That reveal of Grogu at the end of episode 1, which there was 0 leaks about that. There was no talk about a baby Yoda showing up in this show, and that freaking just blew me away. And I was the same with Doug. When I first heard that theme song, I was like, oh, that is so catchy. That is so cool. And just the way they styled that whole show. We talked about it when we were reviewing it. I love the fact that, after he got Grogu, he went back and the Jawas had pretty much dismantled his ship. And so the whole episode was him dealing with, and even though it was him, dealing with getting his ship back, we learned a lot about Grogu's powers, and he learned a little more about it. It ended up being his, sigil at the end of season 1. So even though it felt like sort of a side quest, a side episode, it really had greater meaning within the entire show, and that's really why I think that show is just so well done.
That's why I like that's Filoni's style of writing. Even if it seems insignificant, it'll come up later, and you'll see.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Dave.
Oh, he said absolutely.
He did.
Is there anybody else out there following our absolutely?
They will be soon. We'll have a whole group of people that'll be sharing their videos of their absolutely drinks post-stream. But I do think that's all we got for you guys tonight.
I think so.
Obviously, we'll be back we'll be on YouTube Thursday night. This will be up on YouTube sometime soon. Our Let's Play from last Wednesday will be up on YouTube. We'll get our spoiler-free At the Theater review stream next Sunday. We got a lot coming for everybody, so